We're flying high above the Kent coastline, and offshore circuit racing is back. Does it come any better than this? White cliffs, award-winning beaches, blue seas and skies all the way today in sunny Ramsgate. The temperature, a scrumptious 80 degrees on the Fahrenheit scale. The brand new marina is open for business, and the 20 crews competing in this year's offshore circuit racing Euro Tour are out on the water and ready for action. It's a familiar lineup apart from the absence of three-times champions Ian Sanderson and Paul Scott. They've retired, and yet they followed. Ian Blacker and Stuart Porter split fuel tank in yesterday's third round. After 4 rounds, it's tight at the top. Sterling and Dickinson just 73 points ahead of Masterman and Craig, who won here yesterday. And the course, very offshore circuit racing. One chicane on the western leg. Conditions almost perfect. The slight swell should be just enough to liven things up. And a little too lively it seems already for number 28, Martin Fisher, and his co-driver Stephen Marsh. Just 5 minutes ago on their way to the start line, they performed the unthinkable, rolling the boat right in front of the crowd. Well, it's one favourite out of the way, and the rest are on their way. Just under 50 miles and 10 laps. Sea conditions, as we've said, favouring the small and the lighter boat. Swells around a metre at best, although the boat washes will build up as the race progresses. And plenty of activity in the leading group heading for Mark 1. And young Matty Shepherd, number 33 in the white Argo, with a timely run on this side of the course. And that will get him to the crucial first mark ahead of the rest. It's the point of the race that most drivers dread. The foaming waters around the first turn buoy. So often a lottery. Blinded by spray, tossed around by other boat washes, your destiny isn't always in your hands. Number 10, Martin Rendell, near side. 40 there in the red boat, Paul Davis, far side. The argument is for second place. Number 17, right in the thick of it, Lee Moxham and his co-driver, Terry Morris, 7th in the championship. And here's something you probably wouldn't have seen a year ago. Paul Davis in the Red Phantom refusing to give ground to former European champions, the Rendell brothers. And another picture that won't be too familiar either. Matt Shepherd, ups and downs in his 4 years racing on the circuit. Still without a national or European victory, but looking very good there. Brett Dancy, number 27th, 10th in the championship overnight, and here comes Moxham. Davis has left Rendell in his wash, and Rendell's heavy water. Black Phantom makes heavy weather of the chicane there. Moxham picking up the place. Davis, Red Phantom is his next target. And it's developing into another good day for number 17. There's your race order. Shepherd first, Davis second, Moxham third, Rendell fourth, Dancy fifth, but a really tight mark by Mark Priestley moves him ahead of Dancy. Then it's Masterman. And taking another look at the pressure applied by Moxham that undid the ex-European champions and opened up third place. McCarthy and Trott, 7th for them, and you can see from that shot that sea conditions not completely flat. Back on the track, Priestley and Rendell now into the chicane, and right behind, Masterman yellow and Sterling multicoloured Phantom in a real ding-dong for 6. And it's quite a comeback here for Sterling, 10th, halfway on that one, and almost shoving Rendell out of the way with a determined, if but slightly risky blast there through the chicane on lap 2. Masterman and Craig, number 12, watch as 6th place is snatched away. Sterling now on Rendell, but forced rapidly off the throttle as the Phantom rides there on its side. Masterman comes right back into it, spots the gap It's a three-way fight now for 5th place behind Mark Priestley. You confirm any 2 from 4 here as they romp in at the end of lap. Rendell tight to the mark, but Priestley will ensure that Masterman and Sterling take the scenic route, and Rendell becomes the beneficiary. Well, let's go through that again, and it's a resurgent Ian Sterling who gambles all in the Farnsworth Phantom, coming precariously close to a shove on Rendell, and making known his championship intentions, I'd say. Looks even worse at that angle. Rendell happy to skip away into comparative safety. Then Sterling, foot on the floor, loses control momentarily. And Masterman is back in. Round again, and this time into the last lap. Sterling creating space away from Rendell, and Masterman cuts through inside of Moxham, who takes a wicked hook. Loses control of the boat and only just manages to avoid a midship. That was close. Let's look at that again. And Moxham with one of those little heart-stopping moments when the boat takes over. And in fact he does very well, just managing to straighten up before the impact. And Sterling's on a roll. Half a lap to go and he's found half a gap. Paul Davis not doing too much wrong, but finds Sterling in quite irresistible mood on this final lap. And certain silver is turning bronze in the heat at Ramsgate. Into the mark. And it's Ian Sterling who will go down the home straight in 2nd place. He won't catch Shepherd, who's been absolutely sublime at the front throughout this contest. For much of it, just doing enough to secure his first precious championship victory. Sterling, from 10th to 2nd, proves the lead in the championship is no fluke. Davis gets home ahead of Moxham. It's a few new phases and a championship wide open at the halfway point. So that's how it stands now. Masterman's 5th keeps him in the chase. Moxham's on the pace too. And Shepherd, although arriving late in the championship calendar, leaps in to the top 10.
Yeah, we've been sort of plodding along A-class for the last 4 years, and sort of eventually we sort of got there, which is nice.
Long time coming. Is there more to come?
I don't know about that. It was nice, but hopefully, fingers crossed.
We've always been there or thereabouts, but we've always been sort of, you know, down around about the 5th or 6th. Now we've got the new boat and confidence is obviously up. We've got our first win, and you know, yesterday we got a 2nd, today we got a 2nd, and you know, we seem to have the fighting spirit now, and we were having a hell of a battle out there today after a really bad start. So you know, we've certainly got the incentive there, and I think, you know, the confidence is coming now, and I think both Adi and myself are both believing now that we are possibly, you know, in with a chance.
If Sir Francis Drake could return today to his beloved Hoe, it's difficult to imagine what he might make of it all. Not a bowling green in sight, a coat of paint needed, no Spanish Navy, and sail is replaced with power. Sacre bleu. Today the shipping marks in the famous Sound take on a new role. It's the 6th round of the European Offshore Circuit Racing Championship, and the 25 crews that make up the start grid will traverse the 2.86-mile circuit 15 times. One in particular carries vivid memories of the last round in Ramsgate, where he attempted to harpoon the championship leader, Ian Sterling.
We went around the turnbull and just a wave just come under the front and just hooked the front round. We had no trim anyway, we were stuck on neutral trim. It just hooked us round, and Terry said, keep the pressure on, keep the pressure on. Just kept the pressure on, and Ian Sterling nipped on the inside, and we just come across the back end of him.
Do you put that down to driver error, or is that just one of those things?
Bit of both, I think. Bit of over trim, under trim. It's easy to trim at that one under. In too far, you can hook it, and then you start to get your hooks and your stuffs and all the other bits and pieces. If you keep it level trim, it's not too bad.
The same race was a personal triumph for Matt Shepherd and his co-driver Julian Abbott. They crossed the line first with plenty to spare, hoisting themselves to 8th in the championship. Ian Sterling's 2nd place increased his lead overall, but with 400 points for a win, it looks like another of those seasons that goes on and on and on. Plymouth is the 6th round in this year's championship and maintains a reputation of throwing up the odd surprise. On this occasion, however, there were two. After all the jockeying and physical combat that accompanied the first couple of miles, it became clear that Ian Blacker and his co-driver Stuart Porter, number 14, after a pointless season so far, were in the lead, and that this time no one would catch them. The rest were simply floundering in their wash. No one has ever doubted Blacker's pedigree, but this year so far it's been rather elusive. The second surprise of the round was the return to the flock of Ian Sanderson and Paul Scott, retired at the end of last season. Right in the thick of it, driving number 16, Mark Priestley's Phantom, kindly donated by the driver, following his realisation that the race coincided with his wedding day. A look back at the fourth turn on lap 1 will be enough to remind him of the adrenaline hike he just missed. But in a race with only one winner after the start flag had dropped, life wasn't nearly as straightforward as Stern. Blacker was certainly well in the lead, but Lee Moxham and Terry Morris carried on their improving season with another step up the offshore circuit racing ladder. And then there was the mother of all battles for third, with Sanderson, with just 1 hour's practice in the new boat, having a marvellous scrap with Derek Basham, number 70. He's getting it together in this year's championship in 6th place. And it was offshore circuit racing at its very best. 2 laps later, and the ex-champions were demonstrating the old Henry Cooper. Line them up with the right hand, and then knock them out with the left. Looking at it again reminds us why Scott and Sanderson were so invincible in the seasons 97, 98 and 99. And it really was quite incredible getting in a new boat with just that small amount of practice, but still capable of showing a few old tricks. From 7th position at the first turn, up into 3rd. This was the ex-champions at their very best. It was tougher going though for the championship leaders, both Ian Sterling, number 15, and Barry Craig, 12, in 2nd place, not able to recover from their poor starts. Damage limitation 2 for number 10, the Rendell brothers, 3rd in the league, only 6 here. On the water, Plymouth is always a tough day. In spite of their unhurried victory after 6 rounds, there's still no place in the top 10 though for Blacker and Porter, in a year that will almost certainly keep the champagne on ice.
It wasn't easy, it never is. We got a good start, which obviously allowed us to open up a big lead, and then did put in a couple of good quick laps to start with, and then just really kept it tidy until the end of the race.
Was that Ian Blacker at his best today?
Ooh, somewhere near it. Maybe there's better to come.
Could things happen for you yet?
Hopefully, yeah. I think we've just probably gone up to 5th, maybe 4th in the championship now. Hopefully it's 4th. And then we're just going to keep working on it now.
Where might it finish up?
Hopefully top 3. That's where I'd like to be.
The re-emergence of the 3 times champions after 11 months sent a few shivers up the pit lane. Although Sanderson says it's only a one-off visit.
I realise now why I gave up. It's dangerous, it's difficult, it's hard work. You get wet, you get cold. Yeah, no, too hard to work for me.
I'd have to totally disagree with Ian. That's the best race that I've ever had. So comfortable, no, not a bump, not a worry. The boat's got the speed. It's definitely got the potential.
The boat's set up for a bloke who weighs 22 stone. So next time we do a race, I only get 100 weight potatoes and put them on my lap. That should balance it out a bit better.
So there's going to be a next time.
Ah, very good. You win.